of Ramsey's solution. It's the Ramsey Show, where we help people build wealth, do work that they love, and create amazing relationships. I'm George Kamel, joined by Rachel Cruze this hour. It's a free call at 888-825-5225. You call us, and we'll help you take the right next step for your life and your money. Welcome back, Rachel. You've been on the road doing book signings for your new book. I'm glad for what I have. It's good to have you. That's right.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah,
it's good to have you here.
I'm glad to be here, George.
Glad for where I am in the studio with Rachel.
I know. So yeah, the kids' book was great. I'm glad for where I am launched, and we were in New York, LA, Phoenix, Dallas, heading to Atlanta this week to finish it out, and it's been great. And then it was good to be home, and I thought, I'm glad for where I am, you know.
We did Smart Money Happy Hour yesterday, so she's also my co-host there, my co-host today on The Ramsey Show. Let's get to it. Marco awaits in Greenville, South Carolina. What's going on, Marco?
Oh, not much. I just have a question about the advantages of renting long-term, like 15, 30 years, instead of a mortgage. I'm not really interested in building wealth long-term. I'm more, I guess, interested in like a quality of life now and not taking up my time with house repairs or my money with house repairs, but just kind of having a life that's different through renting, and I'm not so interested in the building wealth.
How old are you?
I'm 40, and my wife is also 40.
And she's also not interested in building wealth?
No, I mean, like we have retirement accounts and we're saving and all that, but in terms of like real estate wealth and that kind of thing long term, we kind of feel like the peace of mind that comes with renting, knowing that there's no surprises, expenses, and things like that. Is there an advantage to renting long term over mortgaging?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the big things is just the diversification piece. So if you have all of your money, in the markets, in a sense, to a degree, all your eggs are in one basket on that side of investing. And then real estate is the next way that we look at investing because of the long track record that it has. And for you to have home ownership gives you a level of not just diversification, but I think overall just power. And I understand, that or when you say like, I don't want to build wealth. And just to be clear, like we don't encourage people to build wealth just to build wealth, right? I mean, it's building wealth, I think, to a degree that you have a level of options in your life. You have a level of peace that you're not living paycheck to paycheck. So your wealth building that you don't want to do, quote unquote, may look different than another listener that's watching this or listening to this. But I think one of the biggest pieces of this, Marco, is just that idea of diversification, and that eventually renting ends up being more expensive because you end up throwing money away. It's a good short-term situation for some people financially, but long-term, it's better that you're kind of almost paying yourself because you'll end up building equity.
Mm-hmm. So I hear a lot that obviously housing market prices are not coming down. So when you say it's better to rent short term and then buy long term, the longer every day you wait, prices are going up. So how long realistically would you rent before trying to actually buy something?
I mean, I would wait till I'm in a position where you're in a position, regardless of what the market's doing, that you're in a position to buy. So for us, our parameters that we have is to say, yeah, we would love for you to have at least 5% down for a down payment on a 15-year fixed rate mortgage, and that your mortgage is no more than 25% of your take-home pay. So it's a quarter of your income. So that way you have 75% of your money that you're making going to things like investing, like you're doing for retirement, and to be able to enjoy your life like you want to do.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
And Marco,
you guys' help.
Yeah, the big piece here is we're not saying get a mortgage and hang on to it for the rest of your life. The goal is to pay this off.
Yeah.
And what that does is it lowers your expenses when you go to retire. The problem is if you keep renting, rent could be double what it is by the time you retire, and you're stuck with that expense for the rest of your days. And so I wouldn't be as worried about maintenance and repairs as I would be about the increasing cost of rent. And instead, I'd rather see you get the mortgage, get rid of it, get rid of that fixed expense to where you're only paying property taxes and insurance. Because right now you're paying that already through your rent to the landlord. They're covering their costs through your rent. And so the key is when you're an owner, you own that asset, that home will appreciate. It becomes part of your legacy. And regardless of if you want to build wealth or not, that's fine. That's a different discussion. I think it's wise financially in the long term to own a piece of real estate.
Yeah, because Marco, if this is encouragement to you too, people that do the baby steps, baby step 2 is get out of all consumer debt but your house. And people do that on average anywhere from 18 to 24 months on average. And then when we see baby step 6, which is paying your house off early, people are paying it off in 7 to 9 years on average. So to George's point, you'd only have a mortgage if you're doing all of this stuff, maybe for 10 years, not 30 years, like a 30-year mortgage says.
Do you have any debt, Marco?
No, my wife and I are debt-free, and and we have a couple of retirement accounts. So I guess what you're saying is that long-term owning a house isn't just about wealth creation, although that definitely is a piece of it. It's also about future expense reduction, which would be, rent would be a big piece of that. And when you're not paying rent when you're retired, it's a lot more comfortable of a life than having a more paying rent when you are retired.
Exactly. And you don't need as much in retirement. Because if you have rent to pay for the rest of your life, you need a lot bigger nest egg. And so there's a nice trade-off there when you go, all right, I'm not going to have a mortgage payment. And at the same time, we want you investing 15% until that mortgage is paid off. Then you can increase that. So how much are you investing right now?
Right now, we're right at about 15% of our household income. So
and do you have money in savings?
401k. Yes, we have about 6 to 7 months of expenses in savings.
Good.
And then I have a 401k through work and 2 Roth IRAs.
Okay, you guys are doing great. And you're at the step where I would say, now that you have all the foundation laid out, let's start to get that down payment. And I don't know what the housing market's like in the Greenville, South Carolina area. I imagine it's pretty hopping. But I'd begin to go, all right, let's get in the game. And that might even be a condo or townhome and maybe eventually a single-family home. Get something reasonable under the parameters Rachel said and get that mortgage paid off as soon as possible.
Okay, that sounds like a great plan.
Thank you so much for the call. Great question. And I want to call out to all the renters out there, Rachel, that renting is not a sin. It's not a waste of money. There's such a hot debate on either side.
Yes.
There's people saying, you should always rent. It makes so much more sense. You don't have all the liabilities. You can more flexible. And that's all true. And the homeowners are saying, stop renting. It's wasting money. And we hear this from the older generations to the younger generations. And they're going, yeah, I'd love to own a house. It's just impossible right now.
It's just so expensive,
I want to be the referee, flag on the play and go, everyone's right
Separate
and
the
everyone's
teams.
wrong.
That's right.
Settle down.
Yes. Yeah. And renting's a great option for a season of your life, right? While you're getting yourself in a financial position to go and buy. Because, let's be honest, when you buy a home, for most people, it is the largest financial investment that you make. It's the largest purchase you make. It's so much. And so you want to be making sure that this is wise, that you've done it really well. And renting for a lot of people is kind of that medium step, which is great. But to Marco's point, what he was asking, that doing that forever and ever, amen, ends up costing you.
100%. So whether you're a renter or a homeowner, the goal here is to minimize expenses in retirement, to build wealth, to live the life we want. And that's what he was really getting at. Marco was saying, I want to have a quality of life now. I believe you can do that and be a homeowner and be a renter. The key is to be on a budget, living on less than you make, and staying out of debt, and make home buying a part of your wealth building plan. More of The Ramsey Show coming up. Don't go anywhere.
It doesn't take a degree in statistics to realize that this one stinks. 93% of undergraduate private student loans are co-signed. So when you're delinquent and drowning in private student loan debt, mom or dad or Uncle Joe is stuck in that financial stress along with you. But there is a way out. Why Refi? Why Refi offers a custom refinancing option with a fixed rate loan based on your ability to pay. And the average interest rate Why Refi offers is 3.9%, which can significantly reduce your monthly payment and decrease your total cost. Why Refi refinances your defaulted private student loans that other places won't touch. And I trust them to help you get out of debt. So don't be another statistic in the student loan swamp. Contact Why Refi at 844-2-RAMSEY or go to whyrefi.com/Ramsey. That's 844-2-RAMSEY or the letter Y, then REFY.com/Ramsey.
I'm George Kamel, joined by Rachel Cruze this hour. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Call us and we'll help you take the right next step for your life and your money. Jennifer's in New Orleans up next. What is going on, Jennifer?
Hi, how are y'all?
Doing well. How are you?
Great.
How can we help today?
So, I have a 17-year-old son, almost 18, and we've pretty much raised him on FPU principles since he was about 6 or 7 years old. And he is in a pretty serious, healthy relationship with a young lady that we do really like. And I know it may seem like too early to tell or anything like that, and we're not the kind of parents that's like, oh, my God. But, you know,
But you're
that
hopeful
feeling
she might be the one.
I'm pretty sure. So, you know, not anytime in the near future, but she is set on being an orthodontist. And
Sounds expensive.
Exactly. That is my question of how to approach this with them. We have talked to him just briefly. The conversations have just started. He does think it's dumb to take out student loans. She's briefly said that she's totally fine with having $250,000 of student loans that might take her 20 years to pay off, because that's usually what orthodontists have. And I kind of briefly said that you guys may not even be afford to eat. And I just don't know how else to approach this, besides maybe getting them to watch The Borrowed Future, take foundations and finance. But, you know, it's just starting.
Yeah, well, a lot of this stems from how she grew up with money and what her parents believe about money.
Right.
And so this is a money values conversation that your son will eventually need to grapple with as they head toward maybe a marriage.
Right. That's what we've been talking about with him.
Yeah, and I think it's. I mean, he's getting to the age. He's 17, almost 18. So, and again, I don't have kids that age, but you know, there starts to be that level of letting go, right? That eventually they're going to be off in college. They're going to be making their own decisions. Like there is that that season of life is coming soon. And so it always begs the question. It changes a little bit because he's still under your roof, in my opinion, but it always begs the question of, if no one's asking advice, you know, when do we give it? And what can we control? Because the truth is, you can't control what she chooses to do. And it gets to a point, too, that eventually soon they're going to just be making their own decisions, regardless of what you guys think or not, right? So if anything, it would be a conversation with him. I don't know what y'all's relationship was. Obviously, they've been dating a while, but you're not her parent, right? So, but you are your son's parent. And so I think having that relationship of being able to have the conversation of, hey, this is what life will look like, you know, if she chooses to go down this path. And then, you know, we get people, you know, in the medical field call us all the time, Jennifer, pharmacists and all this, and they have $200,000 in debt, but they're making $160,000, right? And so usually the hope is that you have a bigger shovel if you're choosing to go a path, you know, in this medical type field. It doesn't always happen. You know, they could get married, she gets pregnant and wants to stay home, and then all of her options are gone, right? Because she has to go pay the debt back. So there's a lot of life in there. But I don't know. I don't know how much you can control it, right?
Yeah. And until they're married, he doesn't really get a vote in her life. He may have influence, but he doesn't have a financial vote as to what she does or doesn't do. The worrisome part was how flippant she was about it.
Well, she's 17,
just saying,
though.
well, this is normal. I'll just pay off my $300,000 over 20 years. I think we need to give her a dose of reality. And I think you're right. Like sitting them down and saying, hey, would you guys watch this documentary called Borrowed Future?
Yeah, but if it's not her daughter.
Well, if she's over the house a lot.
But if they're not engaged and stuff, like, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I'd probably pop on Borrowed Future because I am that dad.
You know just to have it on in the background.
Just to have it on.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if it's in like a very organic conversation, you know, but I don't know. It would... I don't know.
It would feel like overstepping boundaries. Do you feel like that? If you brought this up, it would be overstepping your boundaries?
Well, I have brought it up to my son, and he said that she would watch it with him. He has brought it up to her, and so we do plan on doing that this summer.
Okay. And is her family...
Okay, Jennifer, is he about to buy a ring? Like when you say they're serious. Okay, so honestly, too, and you know this, Jennifer, at 17... You're 17. I'm like, I knew multiple friends that were dating in high school. They go to college within 9 months or so, they're off on different schools. You change so much in that
But also,
season.
Rachel got married in college.
I
so
wouldn't.
it could
I had a
happen.
semester left.
It
Thank
could
you.
happen.
Winston had been graduated a year. I had a semester left. Thank you, George. So it can happen. But what I'm saying, though, is I do wonder if you're wringing your... I don't want you to worry about something that's not your problem right now. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, it's not like they're getting engaged this summer and getting married, and then she's choosing to go in at 18 years old, right? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
We may have different opinions, George.
No, I just think it's one of those things you cross the bridge when you get there. And if she ends up in a bunch of debt and they do end up getting married and she's aligned on the values of wanting to get out aggressively, then they'll be okay.
Yes,
Their life's
yeah.
not over. You can still have a great marriage, but it is going to add a wrench in whatever their plans are.
Yes, that's right. It just adds that weight,
It's
which
going
we
to
all
hold them
know,
back
right?
building wealth. But the long-term hope is that she gets on the same page with money and goes, you know what? I'm not waiting 20 years. If she does end up taking this debt, I want to be done with this thing in 3 or 4.
Yeah, and Jennifer, you do this after school too. And I know majority of people change their major, right? Like halfway
That's
through.
true.
So I'm like, she may not even end up doing it anyways, right? So
That's what I'm hoping.
yeah. And they may not even be dating. I mean, I don't know.
That's a tough one. But yeah,
Yeah,
there's no
I know.
easy answer here.
I don't want you to worry, Jennifer, because I just don't feel like the reality is happening. It may happen in like 4 years, but a lot of factors have to play in for this to actually happen. But I really do appreciate you looking out, obviously, for your son. That's what I'm thinking. It's for your son. What she does, though, is, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, keep us posted. Call us back in a few years.
Yeah. Okay. So tell me this. Let's flip the tables a little bit, George. Okay. Let's say Mia comes home.
Oh, my
We need a
goodness.
different. Okay. Let's go.
First of all, America, Mia is my 8-month-old daughter, just for context. Okay.
So she comes home, and this is not picking on Jennifer, but it does raise the question.
Where was she if she wasn't
She was
at home?
at her boyfriend's house. Okay.
Okay.
And her boyfriend's, I was going to use health. I don't want to use money as the example, but health. Okay. And she comes home and she says, yeah, I mean, Brad's mom set me down.
She's dating
and
a Brad?
She has to date a Brad in this scenario. She's dating a Brad.
Oh, I already have feelings about this.
She says, oh my gosh, Brad's mom. You know what? You're not the mom. You're the dad. You may feel differently. Brad's mom set me down and told me, like, the way you've been feeding us gluten-free, all this stuff is actually really harmful. And I actually need gluten and dairy and all of this that you've deprived me of, Dad. So I because of this Brad's mom, like, I'm choosing to say, would you be like, Brad's mom, what the heck? Stop teaching Mia about...
I'm trying to put myself
you know
in a
what I'm saying?
place where there's a contentious argument about gluten.
I'm trying to make
put
a
it in my
different
world.
example. I'm trying to put it in your world, yeah.
I mean, I think as an adult, I would have an adult conversation with the other adult and come to a compromise.
Okay, so you would reach out to Brad's mom and be
Yeah.
like, hey, okay, so that's what I'm saying. Like the blurred line with Jennifer and this girl who's not her daughter. Is it overstepping boundaries? Is it parenting another person's child when the girl isn't asking? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's not a fiance, it's just a girlfriend.
That's right. Yeah.
I feel like future mother-in-laws give unsolicited advice all the time. It's just a part of being a potential future mother-in-law. You know?
I guess so. I don't know.
They may never
I'm so
get
glad
along.
you called Jennifer, because that's a really good. It's an interesting scenario to be thinking about for
Yeah.
sure.
I would love to hear from the girlfriend's parents.
But I also, if I'm thinking about little Charles now, my son, like if he was, dating a girl and she was going to go, I would be like, y'all don't do, like, stop. No. Like I would feel that, that tension.
Oh, I'd feel the way
of
too.
like, you're about to enter into something really hard that you don't have to enter into right now. Like, you know.
because
So-
the damage hasn't been done yet.
That's
so we're
right.
going like, we can prevent a lot of this.
Yes.
Is there another way?
Right.
And that's why
So-
I don't know. Did the girlfriend parents save for college at all? Did she just on a whim decide I want to be an orthodontist 1 year before going off to college?
Yeah.
There's a lot of further questioning that we don't have the answer to.
100%. But yeah, well,
But,
if Mia starts eating gluten and
We have had that discussion in the Camel house. You're like, will she eat gluten one day? I don't know. We don't have it in the house. Will she
if
get
she
it?
dates a Brad,
It's
be
like
on the
alcohol.
lookout.
It's like she's not drinking it in our house. I'll tell you that much.
Ooh, that would have been a better one if you're a family that doesn't drink. And that would have
Save
been
that one for next time.
Yeah, we'll do that next time.
Hey, more of your wonderful calls coming up. Always a great conversation. 888-825-5225. This is The Ramsey Show.
Statistics show that half of Americans don't have enough life insurance, or they don't have any at all. I don't understand this, John. Why don't people want to take care of their family? They think they're going to die or something?
Well, I used to be one of those guys. I didn't even think about it. And one of my buddies said, hey, the only reason to not have life insurance is if you hate your wife and kids. And I immediately went and got term life insurance.
That's a gut punch.
And, you're telling me, and for decades, Dave, I've sat across people who've lost a spouse. They've lost somebody important to them.
Me
and
too.
They don't know what to do next.
Me
right?
too. I mean, you're going to have a crisis here. And, you got two options while you're sitting and talking to a young widow. She's concerned about how she's going to invest all this money properly and not mess this up, or she's concerned how she's going to eat tomorrow.
That's exactly
These are the
right.
two options.
And
take care of your dadgum family, man.
Term life insurance can replace income, pay off debts, cover funeral expenses, so your family can actually have the opportunity to just be sad.
Yeah.
To just miss you.
That's exactly what it's supposed to be. It's saying I love you to your family. Term life insurance. Jeff Zander and the team at Zander Insurance makes it easy and affordable. I've used them personally for 25 years. They're the only people I trust. Go to Zander.com or call 800-356-4282.
Welcome back to The Ramsey Show. I'm George Kamel, joined by Rachel Cruze. She's my co-host today. Also, co-host of Smart Money Happy Hour, where it's not a call-in show, but still a very fun conversational show about money and pop culture and what's going on in the world, with a lot of laughs. So be sure to check that out if you enjoy this one. Well, Rachel, we've got a brand new event coming up, and this is one that I don't have to travel far to because it's right here in this building. It's a virtual event that you can join from anywhere, and it's called Dave Ramsey's Investing Essentials. So at this event, Dave and I will deep dive into investing, and for the first time ever, he's going to unleash his personal playbook on investing, including how he buys real estate, which he has amassed quite the portfolio. So you want to tune in for that alone. This is a 2-night virtual event happening May 21st and 22nd. And because it's online, you can watch from the comfort of your own home. And you guys are always asking us, we want a deeper dive on that baby step 4, investing for retirement, investing beyond retirement, investing in real estate. We get a lot of questions around that.
I know. And when I heard you guys were doing this event, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad, because for a lot of people, as they are doing the baby steps, and for some people listening or watching, they've been doing this for 10 plus years. I'm like, they've been following. And George, I want you to talk about, because we don't do it a lot on this show, but like backdoor Roths, like there's options out there, other retirement things out there.
Beyond your normal 401k and IRA.
Yeah, for high income earners too. And so I get a lot of those questions on social. And so people really do. They want the detailed plan of, okay, what exactly do we do? Mega backdoor Roths, all of it. So,
and for folks that are self-employed,
yes,
and they don't have an employer 401k, there's tons of options for them, and they don't know about it.
That's exactly right. So I'm so glad you're doing that, George.
It's going to be fun.
Way to step up to the plate.
Someone had to do it.
Give the people what they want.
I'm pumped for this. So join us. We're going to, of course, start with the basics, but we will quickly get into 201 and 301 and into formulas and stuff that will blow my mind.
I'm so excited, George.
Yeah.
Well done.
Dave's going to go full Goodwill Hunting on the board and do like crack some Pythagorean theorems and stuff. So it's going to be a good time. Tickets are $249 for about 4 hours of content over 2 nights. So it's well worth your time and money. Go get your virtual ticket, RamseySolutions.com/events. All right, Tariq is in Seattle. Tariq, welcome to The Ramsey Show.
Hi. First, I just want to thank you guys so much. All the work that you do has completely changed my life, and I just really appreciate it.
That means the world. We didn't do much, man. You changed it, but we're glad and honored to be a part of it.
Yeah. So my question is, I'm really struggling with grappling with car insurance and auto insurance, and so I think my case is a little special because I've never had a car and I've never been put onto car insurance. And I know you guys always talk about buy a car in cash. I'm totally down with that. But once I started looking into it, I tried to get a quote for insurance. And like if I bought a car for, say, $4,000, I might have to pay thousands more for the insurance premium. And I just don't know how to plan for that. Also, whenever I call insurance brokers and tell them I'm trying to plan ahead to save up for car insurance, they immediately hang up. So I just literally have not been able to get any progress on this. And I don't know how to fit this into the baby steps. I'm just wondering what your guys' insight is on that.
Sure. So how old are you?
I'm 23.
Okay. And you're going to purchase a car in cash. Do you know what the budget is right now? Do you have that cash saved up?
Well, right now I'm in baby step 2.
Okay. So you have $1,000 in your starter emergency fund. You're tackling debt. How much debt do you have?
Yep. I have $10,000 left in student loans. After that, I will be debt free.
Oh, good.
Great.
That's awesome. How much do you make a year?
I make $138.
Oh, good for
Wonderful.
you. That's great. And for the car situation, what's the change all of a sudden that you're like, oh gosh, I really do need a car?
What's driving this decision, pun intended?
Yeah, so right now, I've been living in Seattle and I haven't had a car for the past 2 years. I just take public transportation anywhere, or I take an Uber if it's time sensitive. But I am going to be getting married soon, and we're going to be moving to an area where I might have to start commuting by car to work. And it's just going to make sense for me to get a car based on my girlfriend's schedule, who will be my wife soon. She works as a nurse, and so our hours are just going to be different.
Yeah.
And so I'd like to get ahead on that so that I'm prepared when we need to sit down and think about our transportation options.
When's the wedding?
Next spring. We don't have a date yet, but next spring.
So we got a year to sort of get this all, get our ducks in a row.
Yeah, I mean, if I were you, I think, I would pay off that $10,000. My next step would be to build up an emergency fund. And then I would have, you could have a goal of $10,000 maybe set aside for a car and all of that. Because honestly, right now, and most people know this, car insurance is insane right now. I mean, everybody is feeling the increase, and like it's been so dramatic is what it feels like over even just the last 6 months when it comes to car insurance. So honestly, this time next year, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. It could be a change the other way, right? I mean, we just don't know. That's such a long amount of time for something that's been so volatile recently. So if I were you, I would just plan on having a car fund after my emergency fund. And it's almost like your baby step 3B. And instead of a down payment for a house, I would just do a car.
Yeah. Well, should I do that before the investing into retirement?
Yeah, I probably would, because it's going to be a necessity, I would assume, if you guys are moving and you know you're going to need a car. And you're 23, so, I mean, retirement, even if you have to hold off for a few more months of retirement, you're going to be okay.
Even if you start at 24, with your income, you're going to be unbelievably wealthy without any debt.
Okay.
Have you tried to check out our independent insurance brokers at RamseySolutions.com?
I have. I actually talked to a trusted insurance broker, and what's interesting is that he told me of the 15 insurance companies he covers, only 3 of them would even offer me insurance because I don't have any previous auto insurance.
Oh, yeah.
We did do a discussion, and he said what was probably the best case would be to go onto my girlfriend's insurance, which she got from her parents. But that's she's paying $350 a month, which he said is way above the average, but I haven't, he wouldn't give me a quote because I'm planning too far ahead.
Yeah.
So again,
they'll need to actually know what vehicle and all the conditions and all that.
And that's a really good point too on his end, that if once you guys get married, like things that you can combine, and maybe it is cheaper. Maybe it is cheaper to go on her insurance after you guys get married.
Both of your names will be on all the cars on the insurance.
Yeah.
So that could solve your problems.
That could be helpful. But yeah, I really appreciate your planning. But I do think, you can't really nail down a number, just like they're saying, because it is so far ahead.
And in the short term, if you want a car before then or need one, you might need to just budget and go, all right, it's going to be $700 a month for this short term to get insurance, but you've got to have it. Gotcha. So not something you can skimp on, unfortunately. Do you have parents that have insurance that you could jump onto temporarily?
Not that I could in Washington, because we're in different states.
Got it. Okay. Well, I like this plan. I think you're thinking the right way about it.
I would just have a pile of money, and then when it's time to buy the car and the insurance, there's just cash there, and you can budget from there.
But if you're having a good time commuting in Seattle, keep it up.
Yeah, for sure.
That's the city life right there.
I know. So
all right.
good.
Let's try to take a quick one here from Jared, who is in Denver. What's going on, Jared?
How you doing, George?
Doing well. How can we help?
Long story short, I was a law enforcement officer for about 7 years. I was injured in the line of duty and forced to medically retire. So now I'm on a fixed income of $44,000 a year. I'm a stay-at-home dad now, as my wife is doing real estate, and I cannot decide or figure out what type of remote jobs I could do that offer the flexibility I need for my 18-month-old son.
What does the childcare situation look like for the 18-month-old?
All three of our children so far have stayed home with my wife until they got into grade school. We have 2 in elementary right now, and the 18-month is home with me.
Okay. And you're looking for a job that you could do while caring for the 18-month-old all day?
Mm-hmm.
So something pretty flexible where you might be able to get in a few hours during nap time and kind of log off and log back on. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of those jobs exist now, especially in a post-COVID world. I'm going to hook you up with our friend Ken Coleman's Get Clear Career Assessment, as well as his new book, Find the Work You're Wired to Do. It's all paired together, because I think right now you're in the research kind of dreaming phase. And so I want to get you something that you actually enjoy doing versus just something that you can do. And I think with your background, there may be something in the law enforcement world that you could do remotely. And so I would look at... That
is actually kind of the curious part, and I'm open to your suggestion, but the curious part is, due to my disability coverage, I actually cannot do anything first responder related anymore.
Oh. Yeah, so that gives you a boundary.
Bit.
Yeah, that'll give you a boundary. But yeah, there's a lot of options out there, Jared, but I think George is right. If you can find something that you love and you're passionate about, get some hours in, bring in some extra cash, that's awesome.
If you're like most people, your home is your most valuable asset. And when you want to make improvements, it can feel like everything costs too much or takes too long. But something as simple as custom window coverings from Blinds.com can completely change your space and add value to your home. We've recommended Blinds.com for over a decade, so you know you can trust them. From blinds, drapes, and shutters to motorized shades, they make it easy and affordable to upgrade your entire home, and their team is ready to help with everything from design consultation to measuring and installation. Plus, there are never any misleading quotes or hidden fees. Everything's backed by their 100% satisfaction guarantee, and shipping is always free. See why Blinds.com is the #1 online retailer of custom window coverings. Visit Blinds.com to get up to 45% off. That's Blinds.com. Rules and restrictions may apply.
This is The Ramsey Show. I'm George Kamel, joined by Rachel Cruze. The number is 888-825-5225. You call us, we'll talk about your life and your money. And while you're hanging out, enjoying the show, do me a quick favor and do something. Share the show, subscribe to the show, hit the follow button, leave a kind review, share it with a friend, maybe send them a link to a clip that you particularly enjoyed or a show you enjoyed. That helps us reach more people. That's the goal. It's not for personal affirmation, although it does give that to Rachel, or validation. It just helps us reach more people with the algorithm.
That's right, George.
That's what it's all about
the algorithm.
Feeding the algorithm, because we need to reach more people.
Because word of mouth is one of our, it's how most people find out about the show.
Yeah, we don't have a massive marketing budget sponsoring stadiums. You know what I mean? We're not that people.
Right. I know. But, yep, you sharing the love out there.
You are the marketing plan. You're the billboard, so thank you for that. All right, Kevin is in Pensacola, Florida. What is going on, Kevin?
Hi, George, Rachel. How are you guys doing today?
Doing great. How can we help?
Good. So I just have a bit of a question. I've been watching your show for a while now, and regarding combining finances. And so I'm going to be getting married next month. And
congratulations.
Thank you so much. And me and my soon-to-be wife have taken sorry, I'm a little nervous. We have taken premarital counseling, and so we're on board with regarding finances, the finance portion of our premarital counseling. But regarding my situation, we're actually going to be doing a long distance marriage. So to give you a bit of a context, I'm actually active duty military. I have about 4 years left until I retire from the military. And so I'm living in Pensacola, and she's living in the United Kingdom. And so the plan is that after I retire from the military, I'm going to be making my move over there to the UK. But in the meantime, we're not sure if we should just keep our finances separately for just just until I retire from the military, or perhaps I was thinking maybe another option is possibly getting a bank account that can support the UK and the US, because the bank that I currently have charges international service fees, and of course, then you have the fluctuation of the currency conversions between the US dollar and the British pound. So
totally,
I was just trying to see what would be the best option for me to go.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, George, what your thought is on this. I mean, mine, and I'm all pro combining money. You know that about me. That's like one of my number one things. But there are some caveats on why you wouldn't. And I don't know, Kevin, this may be one of those for me. I mean, if you're in completely different countries, different,
if it's a
levels
logistical issue.
I'm like, at that point, I mean, you guys could have different checking accounts, but you just, communicate about it. You're obviously, I guess, promise each other that it's there's no secrets, or, you guys look at stuff together, maybe, once a month, and you have a plan. You guys still have the same goals, but logistically speaking, where your actual dollars and cents are for the time being, because you are in different countries with different banking systems, you may have to have separate ones just for the ease of complication,
Mm-hmm.
Is she working full time?
She is, yes.
Okay.
She is working full time.
And I'm guessing it's not an option for her to move to Pensacola and be near you?
Well, she's not opposed to it, but I'm actually going to be transferring to another location, so I'm not even going to be in Pensacola for very long. But
where are you transferring?
She's not opposed to moving to the U.S. Say again?
Where are you transferring to?
I'll be moving to Virginia.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think more of my concern is not necessarily the checking account, Kevin. It's being away for 4 years from your spouse. Like, that's a
marriage surviving like that is just tough on its own. Have you guys been long distance for a while?
Yes, we have, and we do go back and forth. Like, she'll come visit me, and I go visit her. So we actually do go back and forth and visit each other.
Yeah, I mean, if she's unable for all the reasons that I don't know of, why she can't move to Pensacola or Virginia, then combining finances may just be a logistical issue. There are accounts out there that help you avoid these international fees. I know one of them, this is not a sponsor, we're not affiliated, but Charles Schwab has an investor checking account that you can use internationally with no fees whatsoever. So you probably have done more homework than I have on this, but there may be, I'm sure these kinds of accounts exist that will allow you to do this and switch currencies and all of that with little to no effort.
Yeah, and I think the point of the combined account too, Kevin, is not just the logistical side is, definitely a pro when you're living under the same roof, right? And you start having kids and life starts happening, you're just functioning out of one account. It just makes communication just so much easier. That's one pro. But the other pro is that piece of unity and seeing yourself as one. And I think for you guys in this season, you can still to a degree accomplish that. It's, the idea that your money, you guys are on the same page with it. But if you can't, from a logistical standpoint, figure out how to do this with currency, taxes, all of that, then for a short period of time, I mean, I would be okay.
Yeah. So she's covering all of her expenses. You're covering all of your expenses. Is that the plan going forward?
Yes, that is a plan going forward. And like I said, once I retire from the military and move over there, then we're both on board with combining our finances together.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, and again, I never want to be legalistic with stuff, so it's not this I think the spirit behind it is what is the most important, right?
Yeah.
Is that
and your values and your goals.
Yes,
all
that unity perspective, I think, is really important. So if you guys have a time frame with all of this, and that's the end goal that you both agree on, then I think that's great. But Kevin, too, I would really encourage you guys to look into her moving. I mean, it's different when you're dating and all of that, but when you're married to somebody, I mean, it's more enjoyable because I'm sure, I mean, obviously you love her and you want to be with her. So I'm like, being away would be so sad. It would be so hard.
I can't imagine.
Yeah. And again, I know we thank you for your service too, because there are so many people that are deployed for 9 months, a year, right, overseas and all of that, which there's so much sacrifice. But if you can avoid some of that, unneeded sacrifice, just meaning that she could be here with you while you're here, I think is going to be helpful for you guys as you start out.
Yeah. Well, that's a first. I've never taken a call like that. So thank you for, enlarging my brain, helping me think a little deeper today. Hayden is in Denver. What's going on, Hayden?
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call. I was very excited. I've never called into a radio show before, so I'm a little nervous.
No, you're great. Thanks for calling.
The purpose of my call is I'm looking for some advice on what to do with the next move. So my wife and I are currently trying to sell our house. We've been Dave-ish for a little while. We've been listening to the show, and we want to commit to being debt-free, so we're selling everything. Selling our house, selling our cars, all that stuff.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, we're going all in. And the problem is that my wife is from the East Coast. I'm from Colorado. All of my family lives here in Colorado. All of her family lives on the East Coast. We have a 2.5-year-old son, and my family has not been – they're not very involved. Like, they're kind of cold and distant, and it hasn't been very enjoyable for my wife, and she's really missing home. So she would like to use this opportunity of being debt-free to move back to the East Coast. What I'm struggling with is I work as a firefighter in Colorado, and I have great pay, great benefits, and I love my job. If I were to move to the East Coast, transferring medical certs and fire certs is not very simple, and the pay and benefits are significantly less. So I'm just concerned, even with our new debt-free lifestyle, of just not having enough. I'm not too concerned about not liking the East Coast. I'm sure it will be great, and having her family be more involved would be phenomenal.
Yeah.
I'm just really torn with the idea of starting completely over. And
there's a trade-off here, Aiden, for sure. And it's not going to be easy. You're going to have to figure out the search. You're going to have to figure out how to get your income up, hopefully faster, and maybe find out if there's other opportunities there that could increase your income versus taking a notch down.
And I would do a mock budget, Hayden, of what life would look like over there on the salary that you would have, and see how you guys feel, because that's the part of being debt-free. It gives you options. You can say, you know what, we're going to lower our lifestyle to live where we want to live, and that's great. Or we want to have a higher standard of living and live somewhere else like Colorado where you guys are. So it's really a choice you guys have to make.
That puts this hour of The Ramsey Show in the books. We'll be back before you know it. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, it's The Ramsey Show, where we help people build wealth, do work that they love, and create amazing relationships. I'm Ramsey personality George Kamel, joined by best-selling author Rachel Cruze, also my co-host on Smart Money Happy Hour. And this is your show. This is where you call in and we'll talk about your life and your money right in front of you and in front of all of America and across the world now. We've gone international thanks to YouTube.
And podcasts.
And podcasts. So appreciate you guys tuning in and calling in. The number is 888-825-5225. All right. Hayden is calling from Houston, Texas to kick off this hour. What's going on, Hayden?
Hey, so I got a job opportunity to own and sell my own tools. I would own my own truck and everything, but the only thing is I would be going into a ton of debt. I'm thinking maybe $170,000 worth of debt.
Oh, my gosh. For what?
To own my own tool truck. I'd be like a franchisee.
This opportunity comes at the cost. So you're basically buying into the franchise to the tune of $170,000?
Yes.
This feels like a great deal for them and a terrible deal for you.
Well, the thing is, I can make like $180,000 a year doing it.
Why don't you do it by yourself on your own?
I mean, because I wouldn't even know where to start at that point. But I was talking to them. I have to put like 20% down out of pocket on the table, and they'll help me finance 80%.
I bet they will. I don't like this concept at all. What are you actually selling? What's the business?
I would be driving around to different shops and selling tools, and yes.
to buy into it, you need to have the tool truck.
Yes, I would have to buy my own tool truck, and I was looking at prices for those. It range anywhere from $100,000 to $150,000 because it has to be newer and it has to be low miles.
Hayden, what are you doing now for work?
I work at a tire shop. I make $15 an hour, but the thing is, I'm only 19 years old, and
I think you were sold a dream, Hayden. Can I say that? Because sometimes in these positions, and I'm not going to say that this company is like immoral or lying to you, but they will it's a sales position. And so if you're not good at sales, you're not going to make 180, you're going to make 30, if that, right? So there's I understand that you'll probably get a commission, a percentage over all your sales, and they're probably saying you could make $180,000. But that's probably over a course of a long time of being able to, have clients and long-term relationships. I mean, like, there's probably a lot that goes into that. I don't think it's just a light switch situation. And so they're probably selling you on something that sounds really good. And usually if things are too good to be true, sound too good to be true, they usually are.
And with a quick Google search, Hayden, I'm finding some very interesting information about people who are also inquiring about this. Young guys who are thinking they're going to make a lot of money. And there's a lot of wisdom on the internet. And so I would do some deep research and homework into this. Here's just a quote. This is not from me. Basically, they get you into a debt trap, force you to buy stuff you may not want, then they make it hard for you to support your customers with warranty claims and service. They said some people are making good money, they have good territory serving older clients, but with the internet and the next wave of mechanics coming through, they could be phasing out these trucks for the most part. And so that's my worry is you see other people making money, you think that could be me, and then here you are sitting with $180,000 in debt and not making as much as you thought. And so if this was a degree, I would also tell you this is a bad idea.
Yeah, but I think that you're on the right path, Hayden. You work at a tire shop, mechanics, understanding that world, you're probably really good at it, right? And so I would look to see what other positions are out there to move yourself up. I'm like, I don't know, and being creative with what you know and what you have, I think it's going to serve you a whole lot better than jumping into something that, that's a lot. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money to go.
And also, it's a sales job. So why not go apply for a sales job in that world? If you applied at Ramsey and we said, hey, you got the job, but you have to pay us $180,000, you would laugh in our face. Right?
Yeah.
I would hope you would. So I'm glad you called us before you made a bad decision and called us saying, I went $180,000 into debt for this
you need a company
Snap-on tool truck. What do I do now?
Yeah, that will equip you with what you need to succeed. And it's not all the risk is on you, Hayden. They don't have any risk. It's all on you. It's your personal loan that you're taking out to go deep into debt. So they have no risk. And that's I wouldn't play that game. And the $180,000 a year, man, that is that's a sales pitch. And again, I'm sure people make that, but that's over years and years and years and years and years and years. And so, I wouldn't do it, Hayden. Wouldn't do it.
Okay. Good to know.
I know. Sorry to bust your bubble, but I do think there's other great opportunities out there that you can, you're making $15 an hour. I think you could be making more, right? I think that the trades is something, it's a lost art these days, right? I'm like, there is something there that you can make great money doing this kind of stuff.
Do you want to go into the trades, Hayden? Would you actually want to become a mechanic or do you want to stick to sales?
Well, I've talked to other people that I know that are mechanics. They said it's great for a hobby because right now I have a 91 Vet. The motor just blew up. I'm putting a new motor in there. So, I've worked in my own cars before, but I don't know that I could do that for a living.
You're talking to full-time mechanics, and they said it's a fine hobby, but don't get into it professionally?
Right, yeah.
That's very strange. Sounds like they don't want the competition from Hayden, giving them the smoke.
Well, yeah.
But I would look into it. I'm gonna help you out because I want to help you take the right next step. And so our friend Ken Coleman, also Ramsey Personality, has some awesome tools to help people find the work they're wired to do. So I'm gonna hook you up with his Get Clear career assessment and his book From Paycheck to Purpose. So hang on the line, and I hope those resources help you figure out that next step, whether it is trades, sales, whatever it may be. But at 19, now's the time to just try a lot of things out. But the key is don't go into debt for any of it.
That's right.
Okay.
Thanks for calling, Hayden.
Hayden is not pleased.
We appreciate
He's not pleased with our advice. But you know what? I did
Sounded
my
like
good
a
deed for the day if I steered him away from this 200 grand franchise quote opportunity.
Okay, what did you do? You just Googled the
I literally, here's what I Googled, Hayden, in case you're wondering. I Googled
on DuckDuckGo, thank you.
Tool truck franchise cost Reddit, because Reddit is where they tell you the truth, Rachel. And so there's a bunch
never
of
go on Reddit.
There's
It
a bunch
scares
of
me.
subreddits under tools and forums, and people are just sharing their story. People like Hayden saying, "Hey, what do you guys think about this tool truck franchise idea?" And so I go there just to see what the conversations are like.
Yes. And I don't like when all the risk financially is on him and the company's not taking any.
And it's not an MLM, but it is similar in the sense that there's an upfront, hey, you got to pay to get in. There's a startup cost. You got to pay us for the tools. And then, oh my gosh, the upside of how much money you can make. They're always promising you.
Yeah.
They're showing you the testimonials from the 0.001% of people who actually made good money.
And the percentage of people that actually quit and then are left with all the debt, high percentage too.
There's the story, and we've seen that narrative happen, and so we speak out of love for Hayden and his future.
I know. Good luck, Hayden. We believe in you, though.
We're wishing you the best, man. More of your calls coming up. 888-825-5225. This is The Ramsey Show.
Hey guys, Ramsey Solutions started small and grew fast. Because of that rapid growth, there were times when our systems slowed us down. That's why we switched to Netsuite. It works for us and it'll help your business too. Whether you're starting on a card table like I did, or you're well on your way to becoming a multi-million-dollar company, Netsuite can scale with you and help you communicate and plan better. Because you know your day-to-day up and down and sideways, but accounting, analytics, and supply chain are on another level. So maybe you're just not tech savvy. That can be okay. NetSuite will help at your speed and whatever your situation. More than 37,000 companies use NetSuite to know their numbers and their business better. So check out NetSuite today and find out how they can help you become the business you want to be 5 or 30 years from now. And right now, you can download NetSuite's free KPI checklist designed to give you consistently excellent performance at netsuite.com/Ramsey. That's netsuite.com/Ramsey.
I'm George Kamel. She's Rachel Cruze. This is The Ramsey Show. Give us a call at 888-825-5225. Let's go to the phones. Christina joins us in Phoenix, Arizona. Christina, welcome to The Ramsey Show.
Thank you. Thanks for taking my call.
Absolutely.
Okay, so my question is, my husband and I are looking to buy our first home, and we see a lot of these auction and foreclosure homes, and we were wondering if you recommend buying them, as well as it looks like auction, you might have to have 100% cash, which we do not. But just wondering kind of information on auction and foreclosure, and if you guys recommend one or the other, or kind of the details of it.
Yeah, I mean, they can definitely be great options. And usually for people, if you're doing investment real estate, this is a great option to go down because you just get the best deal on the front end, right? You kind of get built-in equity automatically. But there are some parameters. I'm going to be honest, Christina, I'm not a I'm not an expert on this. I wish my husband was here because he does this a lot and knows the ins and outs probably more than I do. But I do know you want to look in and make sure you have title insurance. Like you want to make sure there's, that the deeds are clean, titles are clean. Like there's definitely some hoops to jump through to make sure that it's a good deal for you. And like you said, sometimes the person that bids and wins does have a lot of the cash up front. I know that's an advantage there, but yeah, what do you think, George?
Is it required? Like it doesn't, it's not always required?
I haven't heard that it's always required. I think you can get it on a conventional, 15-year fixed. But what I would look into is doing your due diligence to see exactly what happened here and what the condition of it is. You need to be extra cautious to make sure that you're not buying sort of a lemon where you're going, oh, we thought it was going to be 20 grand to do the improvements. It's going to be 100.
Yeah, because for some people, as they're getting the auction, they'll just say sight unseen or like no inspection required, right? Just to get their up on it, if you will. And I wouldn't want that for you when it comes to your primary home. Yeah. I mean, like if you had a ton of money and you were like, yeah, if it's bad and we can fix everything with cash, that's one thing. But I wouldn't recommend that unless you just had a ton of cash.
Yeah. And the process can be slower. So here's my advice. I would choose your home based on the home that's right for you that you can afford. And if it happened to be a foreclosure, that's okay. But I wouldn't just seek out auction foreclosures because you're in a tight place financially. I want you to move from a place of strength.
Yeah. Okay. That's great advice.
Yep. Absolutely. Thanks, Christina.
Yeah, thank you so much for the call.
And but those that are looking to invest in real estate for a lot of, and I know for Dave even, a lot of what he bought early on, and even with my husband Winston helping him with stuff. I mean, it was a lot of going to the courthouse steps and doing real estate auctions just to get a good deal on the front end, because if you have the margin financially to be able, whether it is to go fix it and all of it, it is a great deal. But to your point, as especially your primary home,
and your first home,
you don't want a lot of hiccups, and there's a cleaner way, faster way to do it, to buy a home.
But with a foreclosure, if you can get it at 80% of the appraised value minus the cost of repairs, we generally see that as a good quote deal. And you Dave said you make your money on the deal.
That's right.
The front
That's
end,
when you get it. Yeah, for sure.
Not with all your fancy renovations that you go to resell. And so as you even do renovations, if you are investing to resell, you want to think about what's actually going to increase the value when you go to resell. And a lot of times it's cosmetic stuff. It's not the super expensive behind the scenes stuff. They just want a nice looking backsplash.
Yep, that's all they want.
So
but Christina, make sure to check out our real estate ELPs there in the Phoenix area. We have some great ones out there, and they can really help walk with you through that process, because I think having an expert with you through it is tremendous. So make sure to check out one of our real estate ELPs.
It's a good call. RamseySolutions.com is the place to go. All right, David is in Columbus up next. What's happening, David?
Hello. Thank you so much for taking my call.
Sure.
I have a question. It's kind of a mixed bag, but I'm somewhat new to the baby steps, and I'm really just trying to figure out how I can make more money. I have a full-time job. I'm single. I'm 37 years old, and I have quite a bit of debt. And the job that I have right now I'm very grateful for my job, but I'm looking to try to figure out how I can get into something that makes more money and something that I really love. Right now, I have about $56,000 in debt, and I've thought about maybe getting some certifications, but that takes a lot of time and money. And so I'm just trying to figure out how can I transition into a new career or try to find something that pays a little bit more. I have my $1,000 emergency fund. I just did baby step 1 last month.
Great.
And I'm on baby step 2 now. And I have a side hustle that helps me. That's actually how I got through baby step 1. Most of my debt is like student loans. I have a car loan. I have some medical debt. I have some debt to the IRS. So I just feel like if I didn't have all this debt, I could maybe pursue what I really want to do a little bit easier. But since I do have this debt, I need to kind of keep my full-time job and be able to, keep whacking away at this debt.
Yeah. How much do you make a year?
About $67,000 a year.
Okay. And what do you do?
I work in the public sector. I essentially work with educational grants and administering an educational program.
Okay. What do you want to do? What's the thing that you're like, oh my gosh?
You said if I was out of debt, I could do what I want to do. Do you have that thing in your mind?
That's kind of another problem is I'm not entirely sure, but I have some ideas that are kind of all over the place. Like I've thought about becoming an audio engineer. I've also thought about becoming a voice teacher. And I've also thought about going into technology of some sort. Right now, my main focus outside of like doing something that I really love, like something with music or the arts or technology, is really just trying to make more money.
Yeah. I mean, I think if you found something that was a salaried position that you wanted and it was more income, you could totally make that move during this baby step 2 process. I just wouldn't gamble on something like, I'll just make something up, voice lessons that you're going to have a lot of clients and you're going to have to supplement, and it's not there yet, but you really want to try it. So you're going to actually, to your point, make less for at the beginning. All of that, I think that will put you behind on the debt side of paying it off. So I would stick to what you're doing your side hustle, unless another salaried position comes in front of you and it pays more and you feel like, oh yeah, that could be a great step. I'm just curious, how much do you owe on your car?
About $8,000.
Okay. That's great. Well, I'm excited for you, David. You sound like you're hustling, and I think that's awesome. I would just keep grinding away and at the work side of it. And
I would add these side hustles and sort of make it your on-ramp to whatever the next thing is. And so if you can find any opportunity, even if it's, running the audio board at a local church, for example, and you're just volunteering on the weekends, that will give you some great experience that you can go, all right, I got my kind of feet planted here. What else can I be doing? So have you looked into any opportunities to start doing some of this stuff you're dreaming about?
Yeah, I have, actually. It's funny that you say that because just this past Sunday, I went to a church and shadowed their sound crew and learned a little bit about what they do, and I'm looking to do that at my own church soon. And so I'm kind of trying to connect with people and network and see if I can find people who are doing what I'm interested in doing and just learn more and see if that leads to some opportunities.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Very smart.
And we'll help you with that. It sounds like you're living out Ken Coleman's proximity principle of getting around the right people to do the thing you want to do. So we're going to gift you that book as well as Ken's Get Clear assessment. And that's really going to start to sharpen what this next thing looks like. And along with that, his new book coming out, Find the Work You're Wired to Do, has a free assessment in there. So we're going to send you a copy of that because it'll help you actually make use of the results you get from the assessment and hopefully start to narrow down what that thing is. It may be a mix of all of them for now. Audio, voice, technology, they're all very interwoven. Yeah. And maybe you have a little studio and you help, young people get their start, whether it's vocals, music, engineering. I think there's some great fields there. And, we've got lots of audio engineers here.
Yes.
And it's largely Ben running the board right now. One of the best audio engineers, one of the greatest musicians I know, and James Child. So, they did it, and they're not that bright.
And if they could do it, anyone
could do it. I'm kidding. They're the smartest people I know, and they can turn off my mic at any time, but they've chosen not to out of kindness and grace. Thank you, guys. More of The Ramsey Show coming up.
Your home is probably the biggest purchase you'll ever make. And with the real estate market like it is now, you'll need a mortgage company you can trust. That's Churchill Mortgage. You guys, buying a home is not a button push. It's a process. It takes building a relationship with an expert who will dig into the details and give you peace of mind without busting your budget. Churchill is one of the highest rated lenders in the country. And they're Ramsey trusted because they do what's right for you. Go to ChurchillMortgage.com to get started.
This is The Ramsey Show. I'm joined by Rachel Cruze. I'm George Kamel. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Alyssa joins us all the way from Alberta, Canada. What's going on in Alberta, Alyssa?
Sorry, what was that?
What's the vibe in Alberta?
Oh, it's actually pretty nice out right now, so all right.
Wonderful. How can we help today?
My husband and I are wondering if you guys think it's okay if we stop investing for 2.5 years in order to pay off our mortgage.
Whoa, why the aggression?
Because we want to be mortgage-free before we have kids so that I don't have to work if I don't want to.
Aha. Okay, how old are you two?
23 and 25.
And what's left on the mortgage?
$167,000.
All right, what's the household income?
Gross annual income's about $150,000.
And that's with you working. So your goal is, hey,
yes.
You're not pregnant, but once we start to go down that path, you want to be able to stop working?
That's right.
Okay. And you would not be able to do that today with the finances?
No, I don't think so. We would have to be cutting it pretty tight.
Okay. Well, I don't love the idea of you guys pausing investing and unplugging that growth and those contributions, because you look 30 years from now as to what those will turn into, and you'll go, oh gosh, that hurt my stomach a little bit. Because you guys have no debt in the emergency fund already, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Gosh, Alyssa, I'm actually kind of leaning because you guys are so young, and you want to have this lifestyle change of staying home. I may be okay I would make it a goal to say maybe we do it for a year. Maybe we pause investing for a year. And what would it look like? Because the truth is too, by the time you get pregnant, it's 9 months. Like you'll have maternity leave, right? I mean, like there's some, what's your maternity leave situation with your work?
12 or 18 months I get to choose.
Oh, wow. Paid?
Yeah.
Paid. Okay, well there's
not full salary, but a portion of it, yes.
Okay. Well, I would factor that in to this scenario as well.
Because if you're doing 15% of your household income, that's $22,000 that you would not invest but throw at the house. So either way, it's not going to knock out the mortgage, years sooner by pausing the investing. So I'm just curious what's stopping you. Let's say you guys wanted to have kids now. Could you do that, take your maternity leave, and then see where the mortgage is at that point?
Yes, it just wouldn't get paid off for another 5 to 7 years from my calculations, because I was using a Excel spreadsheet and put in all of the potential lump sum payments that we would be able to do over the next 2.5 years, and that brought the payoff date to September 2026. But yeah, it would be quite a bit farther.
I don't know why it would take 7 years just by.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
And I don't want you to not invest for 2 years straight. And so if this was on the cusp of this, just a few months of not investing, we can get there. But right now we're sort of talking in theoreticals and hypotheticals.
Right.
And so I would keep on the path you guys are at. I would aggressively attack the mortgage. I would get that budget down and also make a mock budget and see what life would be like living off of just his income.
Yeah. How much is your mortgage payment a month?
About $18-20.
Okay. Yeah.
And what's his take-home pay?
Together our take-home pay is $110. I'm not sure. His gross annual income is about $90.
Okay. I'm just wondering if we can get him to take home about $7,000, about $7,500, that would put your mortgage right at about 25% and still give you margin to throw extra at it.
Yeah, it just all depends on how busy his work is, really, because he has months where there's not enough for him to make that much.
Can he find another job to do when it's slow times?
Possibly, but he would have to be able to go into work whenever his boss needed him. He's an electrician, so it's just if they have projects on the go, then it's crunch time, and if not, then he might be able to get a second job, but then you would have to. This job
have
would have to be
flexible.
a priority.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of leaning. Listen, I would make it a goal for just a year, but I would be okay because of your age, because you guys are such planners. You know what you want. You don't want to be working when you have a baby. There are these life big things, and if you have to pause for a year for investing in order to make these things happen, I would be okay with it. I would. But I also would say we do find people, Alyssa, that they pause investing and then they look up and it's been 5 or 6 years because that $22,000. Well, we needed to go on a nice trip, so we decided we'd wait another year. You really
had to upgrade the car for the baby.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, you start like kind of bringing in the stuff, and I don't want these years to go wasted for you guys financially because you've put yourself. You work so hard to be in such a great position to gain so much momentum. But I also understand life choices in the moment. You want to be able to have that piece too. And then I'll throw this out too, Alyssa. Everybody's story's different with babies, right? I mean, some people it does take an extra year than longer, even longer than that, right? So, so also have some of this with an open hand, and we never want people to not have a baby or not get married because of where they are financially either. So I do want that for you guys. I want you to be able to start that family, but I do understand the value that you have of wanting to be home. Which is understandable too. And not having $1,800 go out helps with that.
That's serious.
Yep.
Yeah, I like the idea of the mock budget and just seeing how tight you can get things and still have a life while you're at it. Because, baby step 4 is intense to intentional. And so you don't have to go full throttle, but you also have a pretty intense goal of wanting to stay at home and go down to one income.
Yep,
so
exactly.
A lot to think about there. Gavin is in San Antonio. What's happening, Gavin?
Hey, I'm calling in because I'm basically in a situation where I owe more on a car than what it's worth.
Welcome to America. It's about every call we get with a car loan.
Well, actually, this one's a little different. So I got a private car sale, and I purchased it in cash.
Good.
I made the foolish decision not to get a pre-purchase inspection. And effectively, everything looked good, right? Everything appeared good, but I took it to the mechanic just to get, had it looked over, just to ensure everything's okay. And it came back that it turns out it has about $8,000 worth of repairs on a $5,000 car purchase.
Oh my gosh.
So you bought the car for $5,000 in cash.
Yeah.
And you didn't do the pre-purchase inspection? You did it after?
Yes, that was kind of...
You did a post-purchase inspection.
Okay,
it's like getting your house inspected after you live in it. You're like, well, I bought a lemon.
Let's see what's wrong with it.
That was definitely not my proudest moment. I thought, like I said, I looked over it and I was like, everything looks fine. There's nothing glaring, but, come to find out
what's
as a young adult, there's a lot of...
What is
it? Like a new transmission?
What's going on with it?
Well, apparently something about the front and rear catalytic converters, which are expensive. The passenger side front axle.
Okay, how is it driving?
It drives fine. I don't. You really wouldn't notice. I mean, there's some squeaking from under the axle. There is a check engine light on, but
sure. Have you gotten a second opinion, Gavin?
I've yet to.
Okay, I would do that. I probably should. Sometimes, and I may be speaking as an ignorant person with cars, but I'm definitely one of those people. You go into the mechanic and you're like, oh my gosh, you got this and you got this. It's like the dentist, and you got this and this, and then you got to do this, you got to do that.
Wiping the sweat off their brow. You're just I haven't seen something like this since 1987, man.
Holy crap, I got to do all this stuff. And then you go get a second opinion from just like, a good old guy who's been doing this for 40 years, and he's like, no, you really just need this. And you're like, okay, I can do that, right? So like some of this may not just be urgent. I don't know. Or I don't want the car to blow up or something, right? So I'm like, we want to make sure that you're safe. But I would go get a second, even third opinion, because this is such high pricing that they have for you. Before you go and do anything, I would ask around.
But I would not pay $8,000 to fix it.
I see, and I feel that too. So that being said, let's just say I get a second and a third opinion, and the repairs are still worth more than the car is worth. I was thinking, and I don't know for sure, but I was thinking maybe best case scenario to salvage this from here is either resell it at a loss, right? Because I'm not unethical to do with that.
No, yeah, we wouldn't.
Or use it as a trade-in to purchase a car from maybe a lot in cash.
So either of those options would be better than what you got right now. And it stinks. It's a stupid tax you pay.
Hey guys, it's Rachel Cruze here to tell you about a faith-based alternative to health insurance that can make healthcare more affordable. Christian Healthcare Ministries. CHM allows members to share each other's healthcare costs, and it's as easy as 1, 2, 3. Step 1, choose the healthcare provider you want. Step 2, submit your eligible bills. And step 3, get reimbursed. CHM members take care of your eligible medical bills. With no networks and the freedom to choose your healthcare provider, CHM is the best option for Christians who want to take care of their families and help other believers. Find out more at chministries.org/budget.
Welcome back to the Ramsey Show. I'm George Kamel, joined by Rachel Cruze. The number to call is 888-825-5225. Well, Rachel, before we get to the lines, we've got an exciting announcement that we launched last week, the Live Like No One Else Cruise.
It's back,
It's
you
back.
guys.
I petitioned to call it the Rachel Cruise and have you as the headliner.
Thank you, George.
They didn't go with it.
But I'm bumped.
It's fine. It's fine. So this will be Dave Ramsey. All the Ramsey personalities, including myself and Rachel, will be there 7 days at sea, March 22nd through the 29th of 2025. Special guests. We got a lot of musicians, magicians,
it's gonna be fun.
songwriters, restaurateurs.
I'm sure we've talked about this before. The original one, you guys, was set sail March of 2020.
Great timing, Rachel. I told you.
I know. So we are bringing it back, though.
It's a comeback.
And it's been almost 5 years. Isn't that crazy? It'll be 5 years from when it was supposed to originally happen. But we've had so many people, like, randomly be like, we were signed up for the cruise.
When are you going to do it again?
Yeah, there's a lot of you guys out there that really wanted to do this. So we're here for you.
Back by popular demand. Yeah, the last one in 2020 sold out in just a couple of weeks, and the cabins are already booking up real fast. I've been loving getting the DMs saying, we're going to be on the cruise. We're joining you guys.
Fun.
So this is going to be an awesome time. And let me tell you guys, this is not for everyone. This is for those that are in baby step 4 and above. This is a debt-free celebration. So if you've become debt-free, you got the emergency fund, you have budgeted for something fun to celebrate, the cruise is a great way. We're going to go to Turks and Caicos, St. Thomas, San Juan, the Bahamas. Book your cabin, RamseySolutions.com/cruise. I got to work on my tan. I got 1 year
you
to
can
get a
spray
base
tan. I'll give you my spray tan girl. Her name.
I don't know if that's going to look, I'm going to look real orange.
No. They're very natural looking.
Sure. Okay. Look out for that.
I have one. Mine's a week old right now, so it's faded. But yeah, they're very nice.
Shows.
They're very nice.
And it shows. It's fine. We'll have a good time. It'll be a blast. RamseySolutions.com.
Put your sunglasses on.
/cruise.
See George. You're going to be like, oh my gosh.
I'm so pale.
Is that the sun?
I'm so pale.
No. It's George.
Let's get to the lines. Susan is in New York. New York. Aptly named. What's going on, Susan?
Hi there. So I am 58 years old, almost 59, and I have been a public school teacher for 37 years.
Oh, wow.
And my question
Thank you,
to
Susan.
is,
what a career.
Thank you. I have kids in public school.
you.
We appreciate you.
I appreciate that. So my question to you is, can I retire in about a year as I hope to?
Ooh, this is a fun game. All right. Are you married, single?
I have been divorced 5 years.
Okay.
So
what does your nest egg look
like?
like?
Part of my question. I have a little over $500,000 in various investment accounts, including 403B. So about half of it is post-tax dollars.
Okay, so this is in Roth 403B or Roth accounts?
There's a Roth IRA is a small portion, but most of it are investment accounts in the market. And
I see, like a brokerage account outside of retirement.
Yeah. Yes. Sorry.
Okay.
Yes.
I didn't know if you meant post taxes and you've already paid taxes on it.
Part of mine was from the sale of my marital home. So that's post, and so is the Roth IRA that I have.
Okay. And then you have your home?
No, that was sold after the divorce, so I have been renting since then.
Okay. And is there any other assets, or is $500K, that's about your net worth?
That, and I do have a pension, when I retire.
Well, yeah, how much will that be?
And I own So that will come to about it. Well, it depends how long I teach because each year it bumps it up just a bit. So right now, if I did retire next year, it would be about $82,000 a year.
Okay.
Pre-tax.
So the question becomes, what will your expenses be in retirement? And so you can start to calculate that. Of course, there's going to be some variables with healthcare and cost of living, and you're going to be renting for the foreseeable future, I imagine.
Right. That's another part of my
And you're in New
quandary is
York
whether
area?
to buy. Yes.
I imagine
suburban.
rent's not cheap over there?
Will you move from the area?
Well, right now my youngest child is still in college, so just 2 more years, and I do not have any debt at all, and I have an additional kind of side job of tutoring that I use to supplement my income in order to do her tuition and to have fun because that's it. That's my only extra money.
Okay.
What's your income?
120.
Awesome. Well, based on what you laid out for us, I mean, I don't know, with the pension coming in at $82,000, that really helps. Because I was looking at just your nest egg, it made me nervous to go, I'm going to retire next year with $500,000 because you could deplete that at the ripe age of 59 and you could, live to be 100. And so we got to look at what a game plan looks like for the next 40 years potentially to live. And so with the pension it gives you a base.
My real hope is that between my pension and then when I do start to take Social Security, that I do not have to touch the nest egg.
Have you run those numbers for you, just like your lifestyle and everything?
Yes, I have. And the only wild card is inflation. I don't own a home, so that's not a stable expense right now, my rent, but it's manageable right now. My lifestyle is manageable for the foreseeable, I'd say 10 to 20 years. But after that, if I do, live into my 80s or 90s, I am nervous about that.
Sure. Yeah. And at that point, it may require moving somewhere cheaper, right? I'm like, you think about New York and it is one of the most expensive places.
Yes.
But yeah, that would be down the road. Because I don't want you to just go in and get a mortgage and have to pay.
How much do you have in the brokerage account, non-retirement?
I'm sorry, say again.
How much do you have in that brokerage account in non-retirement funds?
What do you mean by non-retirement? That
you said the post-tax account?
Yeah. So about 200 is in my 403B, which is a retirement fund. And then I've got about 270 probably in just brokerage accounts. Then I've got a beneficiary IRA, which I do have to, that was from the death of my mom. That was $44,000 that I need to withdraw within 10 years. And then the Roth IRA is $28,000.
Okay.
And so I do contribute.
The brokerage account is what I'm looking at. I'm wondering if it would be wise for you to cash out the brokerage account and buy something like a condo for your retirement so that you don't have that expensive rent to worry about. And you've sort of covered that, your largest fixed expense, which then lowers how much you would need in retirement.
Yes.
So that's something to think about.
Yeah, it is something I do think about. I have no idea where I want to go once my youngest has flown. So
I would just wait. I would just keep working until your youngest is out of college and you know what the next step is.
Yeah.
And just keep socking away as much money as you can into retirement until then.
Right. Yeah.
That would be my game plan. So I don't know that I can tell you 1 year from now you can retire, but I would say once you know where you're headed next and if you can purchase a condo there to limit your expenses, that would make me feel a whole lot better about what the long term looks like.
Yeah, because I mean there could be, there's a reality that that 270, which in 2 years will grow even some as well, could get you, a great townhome, even cheaper in Greenville, South Carolina, or whatever. You know what I mean? You could look around and decide where you are because that's a good next move versus trying to tackle something probably in Manhattan or something.
Yeah, but I would start to do your research about where you would go. Would you want to follow the kids? Is that the plan?
Well, one's in, they're on the opposite coast, the oldest two. So it's, I have no idea. I think my youngest will stay nearby, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Of course, I'd love to follow them if they all would staying near each other.
Absolutely. Especially, when it comes to grandkids down the line, it's fun to be near them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something to think about as well.
It's just so much unknown right now. And, teaching's a tough gig, and I've been doing it, like I said, 37 years is a long time. And I would like to give back to my community and become an EMT. That's one of my retirement goals.
Very cool.
That's awesome.
I would still tutor and work part-time, so I would absolutely still be bringing in some income in addition.
Yeah, you're the type that you just like to be out there doing something and serving your community, and we so appreciate that. So thank you for the call. Really interesting conversation, and you've done a great job. And so keep it up and call us back when you're officially retired. Let us know what happened. That puts this hour of The Ramsey Show in the books. Thank you to my co-host, Rachel Cruze, all the folks in the booth, and you, America. We'll be back before you know it. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, it's The Ramsey Show, where we help people build wealth, do work that they love, and create amazing relationships. I'm George Kamel, joined by Rachel Cruze. This is your show, America. Call us up at 888-825-5225, and we'll help you take the right next step for your life and your money. Megan joins us up first, or maybe let's go to Sarah first in St. Louis. How's that? Sarah, how are you doing?
I'm very well. How are you?
We're doing great. How can we help?
So I have a question as far as involving children in the household finances when the father loses their job.
When did that happen?
So my husband lost his job. It's been a year in March. And we had gone through Financial Peace University we went in 2019, I think is when we took the class. And we were in a pretty good situation, and the job loss just came out of nowhere. And we have been stacking up credit card debt, I guess, for about 6 months now. He had cashed in an annuity to kind of help pay for current bills, but just to get to the point of it all, I have basically 3 adults living. The kids are 3 adults. The oldest son is 26. Daughter is 22. Youngest son is 18, full-time college student. Just wanting to use this really as an educational point for my kids to show them what really happens when you lose a job and when you are looking at digging into your retirement. And I'm just curious, is that a bad parent call, good parent call?
Sarah, why hasn't he worked in a year? Has it been a year?
Oh, my gosh. He has been interviewing and you think he's got 2 and 3 interviews, thinks it's a done deal, and we think it's going to go back to normal, and it has been truly devastating.
But have you guys had no income at all? Like he hasn't even done Uber, or there's been no income?
Correct. Well, I work part-time. We had savings.
Well, yeah, okay. Why
aren't both of you working full-time, doing anything?
Yeah.
Well, that is what it's pretty much come to now. I have been looking for a second job for probably
what do you do for
3
work?
months now. I work part-time for a financial advisor.
Okay, and what was he doing?
He is in sales and has been extremely successful in sales since he graduated college. So this is just completely not in our, just completely unexpected. And he is just, going down this rabbit hole of what in the world are we going to do?
Sales are largely commission jobs. So it's kind of like you get the job and then let's see what you got.
Well, it's salary plus commission, but yes.
What kind of selling was he doing?
Is his, what he's looking for so high up? Income-wise,
it's 150 to 200,000
plus commission on top of that. His base is that.
His base is 150 to 175. Yeah.
I would take 75 over 175.
I would take 75 over 0.
So can he go do something for now and work his way back up?
He has had 2 different companies say that they didn't want to hire him for what he wanted, but they said anything lower than that, they did not want to hire him because he is overqualified. They would not even consider him.
Okay. I think, I think for you guys, Sarah, you and your husband, regardless of the kids or not, I think you guys are coming to that point of realizing, oh my gosh, we have to do something, right? We have to do something. And that I hate that it's taken a year and cashing in retirement and all of that. So almost my conversation with the kids is, hey, mom and dad messed up this year, right? I mean, I think that you guys both can look at, and that's not a shameful thing. It's not you as people, but our actions when it came to money, that we were on the sidelines for too long, and we made decisions because we just didn't go get X, Y, and Z job. Dad didn't just go get X, Y, and Z job. And because of that, we racked up credit card debt. We cashed in retirement. Like we've gone so far backwards because of this job loss, which I know is excruciating. A job loss is like a punch to the gut. And especially if you're making high money, I totally hear that. I don't want to be insensitive to that, but I do, Sarah, I kind of want you guys to wake up and say, like, you can't do this. Like, this can't be, you obviously have sustainable, but that would be my conversation to the kids. If you lose a job, you're an Uber driver the next day, right? I mean, you have to bring in income to pay bills, and that may be humbling yourself because you were this top-notch sales guy making $400,000, $500,000 a year. And your life just looks a lot different. In the meantime, we want you to get, him to get back to that place for sure. But I don't know. There's just
What is the 22 and 26-year-old doing? Are they working full time?
So yes. So the 22-year-old, she's sitting out college. She does work full time. The oldest one, he just got his first big boy job, and he's getting ready to actually move out of the house.
Okay.
But like each kid, their cars are paid off. They pay us, they pay us for car maintenance. The oldest one does pay the rent, like I said. So they are, even the boys are, they've set up Roth IRAs for themselves.
Yeah, so I think for that conversation, Sarah, for my kids, again, for a season, them being home, if there's a big transition happening, but for their dignity's sake, there's just, even though you have a Roth IRA, there's something about growing up that when you live on your own, it just happens. It forces you. And I know this is such a stupid example. I don't know why I always use this example, but it's almost like you look in the fridge and there's no milk. And when you're on your own in an apartment, you're like, well, crap, I got to go to the grocery store and get milk.
It's like, Mom,
versus mom, it's these it's those small things to the big things that really force you to be an adult, and you make different decisions. You think critically, you think in a different way, right? So all of that. And now if they're there for a season to hit some number or a goal and you guys agree on it and there's a time frame, all about it. But I think for the dignity of your kids, Sarah, I would have a conversation to say for the good of them. And they're obviously really smart. I mean, they're doing really well. But I think that extra step for them is good, Yeah.
Well, I think that's really what I wanted to hear and what I thought, because anytime you can educate your children on something, a major life change is good. But I also feel guilty because they are so responsible and they do pay for certain things. And I would, feel bad to go, hey,
you're not harming. I don't think you're harming them. I think you're actually loving them really well as a 26-year-old adult.
And it doesn't have to be you asking them for money. It could just be, listen, we need to cut back. Mom and dad are, we're not doing great financially right now. And here's the areas we're going to cut back on. And here's how this might affect you.
Right.
And at least that's a baseline.
Yeah. But I think I would still hold my line, Sarah, with them, regardless of your situation or not. Right. I think regardless of y'all's financial struggle, for just their sake, there's a part of me that I don't want them to feel like, oh, we're having to move out because of mom and dad's situation, even though that's part of it. They're moving out because they're 26 years old, and
right,
they're leaving,
yeah,
right?
And I don't think that would
needs
be an
to
issue.
happen. Yeah, totally.
How much debt do you have, Sarah? What's the total amount?
For credit cards, about 25,000.
Oh, okay. Step one, we got to cut these cards up, and we need to go to work.
Yes,
if that's delivering
non-negotiable.
pizzas, Uber, it does not matter. We need to swallow our pride and bring in income. We cannot keep going into debt. Wishing you guys the best.
For sure, Sarah. We're cheering you guys on.
Welcome back to The Ramsey Show. I'm George Kamel, joined by Rachel Cruze. Our question of the day comes from Emma in Georgia. What does Emma have to say, Rachel?
She says, I met one of your financial coaches who was absolutely wonderful. So glad. I'd like to begin the 6-month coaching sessions, but I have to get my husband on board first. How do I convince someone that is a live in the moment, I might die tomorrow, so spend my money today guy? Financial peace is actually worth it. I'm considering asking for asking a marriage counselor, but I truly do not think that this is a marriage issue. I believe he needs to change his mindset to believe that sacrifice and living a debt-free life is worth it before we can begin our journey. Otherwise, I'm just dragging someone kicking and screaming, and that's not going to work. I've tried to get him to listen to your podcast, but his excuse is I'm not interested in learning about money. It's just not interesting to me, is what he says. But then he'll complain about living paycheck to paycheck. Help.
Wow. This sounds like a marriage issue because you're married to him. I don't know how else to spin it.
That is the reality. Yeah, and it's a marriage issue that he's not listening to his wife. Can I say this? We do not have a perfect marriage. Never will I ever claim that Winston and I have a perfect marriage. But if I keep telling him something like, hey, this is like, I'm fearful in this area, or I'm like, I worry about this. If he's just like, wow, I don't care. I'm like, you are such a jerk. Like there's a point where you're like, oh my gosh. Not that he has to go and do every little thing that she wants, right? She may be the nerd in it. But there's a point that, it is a marriage issue because your husband
is disrespectful.
And opposite too, right? Like if this was a guy and he's like, and my wife doesn't care, I'd be like, your wife is kind of a jerk. Like, I don't know. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like with Whitney, like if you... if she kept saying something to you that she's like really worried and concerned about
really matters to me, and I was like, well, it doesn't to me, so
I don't care.
Sounds like a personal problem.
Right.
I mean, she's not asking him to go to yoga class with him.
Right.
This is your personal finances. This is your money goals.
And then he complains. Yeah, it sounds like immaturity. And then he complains about living paycheck to paycheck. And I'm like, well, you can't have your cake and eat it too. Is that the saying?
I think this is a symptom of other communication issues with their marriage, value issues with their marriage. So I would absolutely work with a marriage counselor to get to the root of this, because you nagging him, as you kind of call it, is not working.
Yeah.
And if he's unwilling to communicate, I think having a third party there to point out some things that maybe he's not realizing that could hit him in a different way.
Yep.
That's not his wife. I think that could help.
For sure. And the truth is, people that engage in this process of becoming debt-free, you have to like really believe, right? Like there's a point that you're like, oh my gosh, like this is something that is really important to me, because it's not going to happen. We always say you can wander your way into debt. You can't wander your way out, right? There's a very intentional plan. There's some sacrifice involved. Things have to change. Like in order to become debt-free, those things have to be true. And so obviously this is very important to her.
And it's important to him because he's complaining about it.
Yeah, right.
He's going, oh man, this stinks. We're living paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah, but to engage in a debt-free process, you're not just like, yeah, that'd be fun. Sure, why not? It's because like, oh my gosh, I have a level of fear, or I have a level of anxiety with my money, or I hate so much that I work so hard and we have nothing to show for it. Like there's a deep motivation in Emma to get to this point. It's not this flippant thing in life. Yeah, like, oh, I just want to go to a yoga class. So the fact that your husband is not taking the weight of what you are talking about seriously, that's a marriage issue, Emma.
100%. I mean, you're either growing together or growing apart. And in this case, as she begins this financial journey solo, it's going to cause a rift in their marriage.
And you can't, I mean, like if you are trying to get out of debt, but he's taking the money and going deeper in debt,
doing what he wants,
you're not making progress. I mean, you really can't.
Yeah. So I would absolutely seek the help of a marriage counselor.
Because it is a marriage issue, Emma.
And get him involved in the coaching and saying, you're going to sit here and you're going to be involved. and you're going to like it because I care about our future, and I hope you do too.
Yeah.
So that's a tough one. It's
Sorry,
a journey. It's a journey.
There's a lot of people out there, though, where one spouse is gung-ho and one doesn't care. And that's a hard place
and
to be.
it can take time.
Sure, totally. Yep.
All right, let's go to the phone. Zach is in Atlanta, Georgia. Zach, welcome to the Ramsey Show. Are you with us, Zach? Did we lose you already?
Hello? Can you hear me,
Hey.
George?
There he is.
How can we help?
Hey, sorry about that.
It's all good.
Just a quick question for you guys. Me and my fiance are looking at marriage. We're getting married in August. Career change is coming up for me. She's working a steady 9 to 5. We're seeking premarital counseling, but we're really trying to figure out a game plan for preparing financially for our future. So both have college degrees, but we want to figure out tangible steps that we can do now so that we can live comfortably later on for prepping for kids and grandkids, buying a house, things like that. So just wanted to get you guys.
Wow, grandkids. Zach, you guys are planners. Planners. Okay, so 4 months. 4 months to the wedding. Congratulations.
Is it paid for already?
The parents, so her parents will be paying for it. So
Wonderful.
That's awesome. And do you guys have any debt?
Nope, zero debt.
Okay, and how much do you have in savings?
So I've got about $51,000 liquid.
Okay.
And then I have another $13,000 in a 401k. She has about $10,000 in her 401k and $62,000 liquid.
Good night,
So
Zach.
between the two of you, you guys have $113,000 of cash?
Correct.
That's awesome.
So let's call that your emergency fund plus some down payment?
Yeah, we all want to buy a house soon.
Right. We've been looking. We're a little. I mean, we tore it up looking for houses probably 3 or 4 months ago, just seeing if we could even get close to what we wanted, and we came up short every time because interest rates are killer.
Yeah.
We're really the core of it is the 20% it would take us to get out of PMI is quite a chunk of that. So I mean, sure, we do have 113,000, but 20% on a $400,000 house would basically eat us alive. So.
Yeah,
we were trying to figure out a great game plan.
Yeah, and I honestly wouldn't advise buying a house in your first year of marriage anyways. I would just go find an apartment and rent and just kind of be married, enjoy that season, because the great thing about renting is if stuff happens, if things break, it's all fixed for you. You don't have that burden of home ownership right away. And so I do think, renting somewhere for a year or two, I think is fine. And then be looking at what you guys can buy. What do you guys make a year together?
Sure. So I make together we're about 160.
160.
Amazing.
Okay, that's great.
And with no debt, how much can you sock away in a year with that kind of income?
Right. I mean,
probably save up another 60 grand, 70 grand, 80 grand.
Exactly. About half of that earnings and savings. So
how old are you guys?
She's really frugal, which is a blessing. I am 27 and she is turning 25 this year.
Okay, great. And neither of you own a home right now, obviously.
That's correct.
Okay. Yeah. I would wait a year, Zach. Keep piling up that money, and then and then have a great down payment. And even if you don't hit that 20%, I mean, we say for first time home buyers, it could even be 5% if that gives you a little bit more breathing room. But I mean, a great goal for sure is that 20% because of PMI. But yeah, y'all are in a fantastic place. But that would be my next goal, is to look for that home.
And then get it paid off while enjoying your life, investing 15%, paying off the mortgage. That puts you in baby steps 4 and 6. Obviously, you don't have kids yet, but once that happens, you'll be funding that the college, and it sounds like you're in a great spot.
Yeah, and it's even small things, Zach. Like I remember even when we got married, we didn't have enough furniture to fill some of the rooms in our house. So you think about furniture budgets, right? And you're like, we want to furnish, our house, and we want to go on a great trip with friends, or I don't know what all the stuff is that you guys want to do with your life. But
you got the honeymoon already planned and paid for?
Yeah, we're getting close to putting the final stamp on it. So
where are you guys going?
We haven't paid for it yet, but it's wedding planning is a little crazy, as you guys probably already know. But we're between a cruise, nice and cheap, or flying out to Europe and just kind of having ourselves like a $5,000-$6,000 budget just to have a little bit of
Wonderful.
fun with.
That's so fun.
Gosh, you guys are so wonderful. I'm so excited for you. And we're going to gift you as a little premarital counseling / wedding gift, Financial Peace University. So you both can use that for the next year along with every dollar. I think the sky's the limit.
Yep.
This is like the poster children of,
oh my gosh.
so like, what should I do to get step right financially? You've done it. You're out of debt with money in the bank. This is what everyone wishes their marriage started off with.
I know. Well done,
pile of
Zach.
money, no stress. Just enjoy getting to know each other.
It's great. So fun. Enjoy Europe or the cruise.
Oh, to be young again.
Oh, to be young again.
This is The Ramsey Show. Welcome back to The Ramsey Show. It is National Financial Literacy Month, and this month we're celebrating teachers. The teachers of America, they love our kids well, they work hard, they're helping to shape the future by making sure our kids get the education they need to succeed with whatever life throws at them. And here at Ramsey, we want to say thank you to all of those teachers with a teacher appreciation giveaway sponsored by Ramsey Education. So one teacher will win a $5,000 vacation. They can do whatever they want with that and go wherever they want. And we have 2 additional teachers receiving a $3,000 vacation. That's nothing to shake a fist at, Rachel, to wherever they choose. So this is completely free. No purchases necessary. You just need to go enter at RamseySolutions.com/teacher and enter today for your chance to win. So let a teacher know in your life.
We love our teachers. Our kids, I said something on Instagram. People were like, your kids go to public school? And I was like, yes, because our experience with our little public school here in Williamson County, in Nashville.
And to be fair, this county has some of the best schools in the nation.
It does. And every teacher we've had, I was just texting with one earlier, they're just amazing. Like, they're the most amazing human beings, and the staff and all of it. So all of you teachers out there, I know people have their opinions with everything, but you're just amazing. So there's some great teachers that I feel like sometimes, they don't get the cred.
That's right.
So, George, I'm hosting this show on Thursday, and then I'm getting in a car. I'm driving to Atlanta.
Oh, that's right.
It's my last book signing for my book. I'm glad for where I am. My new kids book that's out. I was out all last week on tour with New York and Phoenix and LA and Dallas, and my last stop is in Atlanta. So on Friday, if you are in Atlanta, Mansell Crossing, the Barnes & Noble there, from 1 to 2 o'clock in Atlanta on Friday, I will be there to hang out with you guys and sign books, say hi to your kids. We did a little story time. So many kids, about 75 kids showed up in Dallas with their parents. I know. So we did a big story time and it was so fun. So Atlanta, make sure to come hang out on Friday afternoon.
How do you land the story time? Like, when you finish, are you showing them pictures with each one?
I
like,
do,
what's your
and
strategy?
I talk to them. I'm a mom. I got these kids. So yeah, we talk about what we're grateful for, who brought you to this book signing, because the whole book is about your family, really. That's the foundation of like our gratitude. It's the things that money can't buy. To really start there with our gratitude. And so they're so cute, though. Kids are funny.
Were there any like older kids?
Yeah, some. Yeah.
They're like, I'm 18, Rachel.
Yeah, some of them were teenagers with their moms, and they were like, hi.
And then a few just, great. Strangers with no kids who just wanted to say hi.
Yeah, and they came with other books that we have and signed those, met them. So
That's sweet.
Yeah, whether you have kids or not, come on out. So it was so fun meeting all you guys on the road last week. And a lot of them listen to this show. They listen to Smart Money Happy Hour, George.
Love it.
I know. It's so fun to be out in other cities and hang out with you guys. So Atlanta, come on out.
Can't wait. All right, let's get to the phones. Megan is in Vancouver, Canada. What's happening, Megan?
Hi, George. Hi, Rachel. I'm just calling. So my husband and I got married in September 2022. We were lucky enough in October 2022 to win $1 million through the Canadian lottery.
Whoa.
My gosh.
Yeah. So
that's amazing. Oh my gosh. Yes. Was it one of those that you had to like pick numbers, like the Powerball here in America, or what is it? Scratch off ticket?
To be honest, it was a $10 ticket that we bought because my husband had just switched from oil field services and wanted to try a different industry and be home. So we were making a joke at a gas station, and it was the third ticket I've ever bought. And I just, yeah.
That is so wild. Okay, so this was back in October of 2022?
It was, yeah.
So it's
do you
been a while.
do you take a lump sum or payments? Like, how do they do it in Canada?
So in Canada, there's no taxes or anything. So we received.
There's
the
no
full
taxes on the lottery?
No.
So you actually got $1 million.
Should we move to Canada?
We got $1 million. Yeah.
And it was a lump sum? They just like wire it to your bank or write you a check?
You know, I to be callous, I picked it up at a Shoppers Drug Mart at a pharmacy because they send it as a check in the mail.
Wow. Okay, so you deposit $1 million into your bank account. What happened to it?
Yeah, is it still there? Is there any still left? Or Megan, did y'all just go crazy?
There's actually quite a bit left. And so that's where my husband and I have kind of two different ways that we're thinking of approaching it. So just to start off, we did pay our home outright and got rid of our mortgage.
Good.
Amazing.
So that was $350,000. We did get a newer to us but still used vehicle, which was $25,000. And then we paid off. Luckily, we worked through my entire education, so I didn't have any student loans or credit card debt. So we did just have $25,000 in a vehicle loan as well.
Oh my gosh! So you guys have like 650-ish left?
Yeah. So then we did put some into our RSPs, 25 each, and then right now we have about 550 that's still liquid.
Wow.
Okay.
That you can do whatever you
Yeah,
want with.
so-
Is it in a savings account?
It's in a high yield savings right now.
Good.
The interest per month is really not doing that well. It's probably, it's like $1,000, I think, a month, roughly around there. So
What's
it could
the
be
interest
better,
rate
I
on the
think.
account?
They tell me that it's 4%, but that doesn't make sense.
I would look
think
into that.
there
You might
needs
want to
be a
move the money.
conversation there.
Yeah, and is it
Yeah.
FDIC? I mean, I don't know what you have over there. We have FDIC insured, so your money's insured up to a certain amount in that account.
Yes, yeah, I think there is some there as well. To be honest, I still really haven't done too much on that end, which is really a fault of mine. I've kind of just been sitting there trying to decide what we should do going forward, which is why we're calling you.
Okay, so what you said you had two different opinions here.
Yeah. So my husband wants to invest in a portfolio and have someone manage it. And then there is a rental property in our area that we could buy, and there is someone currently as a tenant. And then we would just assume the tenant and do a little bit of renovations as things have gone on. But I'm hoping that we could do like a 15-year plan. The overall goal for us is to get out of like city limits and have land. So my thought is to have our house now and the other rental property help pay towards the mortgage as well as our salaries towards the land. Whereas my husband's thought is if we invest in a portfolio, we would still have like less liquid cash because there is a $500,000 minimum investment with the person that we found that's fairly reputable.
Okay.
How soon do you guys want to move?
Yeah, in an ideal world, we'd like to move sooner rather than later. I just want to be realistic about it and not
How much would it be? I'm just curious, like to get what you want, land and everything. Like, I don't know. I just know real estate's expensive everywhere. But
yeah,
what would it be?
Yeah, so when I've looked at properties that we're actually interested in, it's probably $800,000 to $900,000.
Okay. What's your current home worth?
So we just had an assessment, yearly assessment. So I would say probably $365,000. It's gone up since we bought it.
Okay, so if you sold your house plus the cash you have in the bank, you could purchase this land and live your dream today.
Yes. I think what I always get worried about is like with this other rental property, it would also be paid out. And then if we have both of those paying towards our acreage with our salaries, we would be fairly comfortable. And then we would also have those as like long-term investments.
But that would require you guys.
I don't love going back into debt.
Yeah, you go back into debt with that plan.
Okay. So your best advice would be to just sell the house that we're in
Yeah, but
And
then
then
all of your money, though. So the only thing,
It's all
Megan,
tied up in your
it's all
primary.
tied up in just one
Right.
house, right? And so for me,
Other than appreciation, it's not going to make you any money.
yeah, I would want a little bit more of diversification, and I would want some of this money be making money for me, right? I'm like, there's something about it earning, interest that you guys may be able to use to help with lifestyle in general, right? Or to move towards something you want.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, the real estate's a great investment. I don't think that you guys could go wrong necessarily either way with the rental property or putting it in the markets. I think we'd say both, if you run the numbers correctly, could get you what you want.
Yeah. And it also depends on your age, your nest egg, what your retirement goals are. So that's something to think about as well as you calculate all of this and figure out the next steps. I want to make sure that if you wanted to stop working at some point, you could, and not
That's
just
right.
be stuck in this dream home that you now can't sustain. And so
That's right.
make sure that you're still putting away money in retirement, that you're going to retire with, $1 million, $2 million, whatever your nest egg goal is, and you have this beautiful dream home. But wow, what a story.
That's great.
That is wild. Canadian lottery. Who would have thunk it? Our scripture of the day, Proverbs 4:26. Watch the path of your feet, and all your ways will be established. Taylor Swift once said, that's a left field, left turn right there, Rachel. Taylor said, even if you're happy with the life you've chosen, you're still curious about the other options.
Oh. Do you know what?
Is that a
reminds
lyric?
Me, that reminds me of one of my, and I'm going to make James answer this because he has a mic. That's one of my favorite questions to ask people. Here's a great dinner question. If you want to get
You
to know
love a dinner question.
I love a good dinner question.
If you're ever at dinner, invite Rachel because she will get the table talking.
Is if you were to wake up and have a completely different life, different job, everything, what would it be? James would be a musician, wouldn't you? You'd be like part of a band.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, you'd
Yes.
be part of a band.
I think he'd be a music critic, though. It's more fun for him to critique and judge than to actually make art.
I'm
What
that
would you-
right now,
What
though.
would you do, George? If you were to wake up tomorrow and you had a completely different life,
Single,
job, everything.
not married,
you can
no
do
kid-
whatever you want, whatever.
Oh, gosh. Well, I feel like I would want to be married to Whitney still
That's
in another
great.
life.
I mean, that's probably good. Okay, so what
I'd
would you
probably want to host like a late night show,
That's good.
The
that's in
desk, the
same-
crowd, the vibe. Yeah, it'd be
Yeah.
super fun. How about
yeah,
you?
That's good. I would be a political correspondent.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, for like a network.
Which network? Can
and
you
travel.
tell us?
I would do them anyway. I would be very open. I'd bring my unbiased opinions
Wow.
to biased networks.
I think you'd have to create your own network for that, Rachel.
I know. But like travel to all the campaigns and like report
Ramsey
on.
News Network, RNN.
Yeah. I don't know.
There you
I
go.
think it'd be interesting.
That's fun.
There you go.
Where
okay.
did that come from, Taylor Swift?
Because she said,
Oh,
even
even
though
if
you
you're
love
happy
your
with-
life, you want to know other options. So you're always like, and I would
Oh.
live in Manhattan. That's what I would be doing for sure with Winston.
That's good.
The kids.
I'm glad
We'll
you
see.
still chose Winston. See, I was like, is this a trick question that's going to get me in trouble?
No.
I'm not falling
no,
for it.
No.
Oh, that's fun.
Oh,
That's
man.
a good dinner question. That is something that you like to do.
Yeah. Dave is not fun to play with, though. We've
He's
played
like,
it
I
with
choose
the
my
family.
life. My
That's
life's great.
exactly what he says. He's like, I just be me. And I'm like, you are so grumpy. You got to be creative, Dave. What would you be? Like a water skier or like a scuba diver instructor? I don't know. All his weird habits that he has are not
Yes.
weird, but he's lots of
Interesting
hobbies.
hobbies.
He has
Yeah.
lots of hobbies. But he would just be him. There you go, America. That's a free Ramsey dinner
That's
combo
Dave's
for
children's
you.
book. I'm glad for who I am. There it is. And it's just Dave on the cover, smiling, thumbs up.
Saying, it's good to be me.
If you can't be Dave, be you. That's the second best thing.
Oh my
That's so good. What a story that would be. All right, I'm glad he's not listening.
All right, let's go to
That's fun.
Let's go to Andrea.
Andrea in Little Rock. Save us from ourselves, Andrea. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing well. How can we help you today?
Okay, so I basically have two kind of basic questions. I'm trying to see how we can save money to fund our dream and also stop living paycheck to paycheck. So the basics are my husband makes about $3,500 minimum a month bring home, and our expenses are around $3,400. I'm a stay-at-home mom. I homeschool our kids. And we've gotten very blessed on our rent is below. We pay much lower than most people in our area. I'm on level billing for all of our bills, so we have like a set amount every month. And we still cannot figure out how to really save. And our goal is to own land and build our own home on one day. And we have already purchased the land. We've saved and been able to do that. So we own the land. We just need to start saving now for being able to build on it. And a little bit of backstory is we were homeless at one point, and we ended up getting money to be able to stay in a hotel, and then everything we were making was going into living in a hotel. And then we just both worked our butts off to save to be able to finally get a house, and we started from the ground up. So, but now we're like in this cycle of paycheck to paycheck, and it's a lot of anxiety for us, obviously, because we know what it's like to be at the bottom, and we don't want to do that again.
Wow.
Do you guys? Yeah, it is. Do you guys have debt?
No.
No debt. Okay.
Is the land paid for in cash?
Yep.
Okay.
Where did you guys get the money for that?
Saving, and then we got a little bit of a tax return, so we pretty much took all of that and invested it into the land and paid it all in cash.
Okay. What kind of home are you in now? Or how much you owe on it? How much is it worth?
We are renting. We rent.
Okay.
And we've looked at, to see if there's something cheaper in the area. And like I said, the landlord, he needed a lot of work done to it before we moved in. So he really kind of looked out for us. And most of the other houses in our area are $400 or $500 more per month. So,
yeah.
Are you guys investing at all right now?
No, we were. And then, like I said, when we kind of lost everything, that kind of went out the window because we had to pull everything out to survive. So we're like literally starting all the way over.
Totally. And I don't want to be a dream killer in this, because I think building a home on that land is a very reasonable dream, right? And I think that it can happen. I just think it may take longer for you guys. So I think some patience, because what I want for you all is to have a level of stability that you just don't have right now, because even though you don't have debt, you are still paycheck to paycheck. Do you guys have any savings?
We have about 500 in savings right now.
So what I would do, I think what's gonna relieve a lot of this anxiety, because that's an anxious place to be, is to up that. So I think all of your goal is to get 3 to 6 months of expenses saved before anything else happens. And that may mean that he's going to be working extra. It may mean that he even, I don't know what the jobs are in your area, even looking for something that may not be his dream job or what he loves. But if you can get something that's paying even 10 grand, 15 grand more a year, you know what I mean? Because you guys you are at that fine line that if something were to happen, that $500 can go very quick. So I would be doing some extra stuff. And even for you, I know you're homeschooling the kids, but if there's anything from an online standpoint, I find a lot of moms are really great at administration. And so even if there's a virtual assistant job that you can work, maybe it's 15 hours a week and you can do that at night, like to help, I don't know. I'm trying to give you some options, but it's probably going to require upping income, because I think you guys are at a low point expenses wise. I don't know how much more expenses you can cut.
If you've looked at the budget and there's nowhere else to cut, I mean, you can reshop insurance, you can nickel and dime, get the grocery costs down to see, can you get that down to $3,000 of expenses? That way you've freed up, $500 a month, because saving $100 a month, that's just not enough margin to do anything, whether it's emergency fund or otherwise. And so you guys are just too tight.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm done.
I was just going to say that's one thing I have looked into is I have a doctor, a medical issue I have to go to the doctor for every month, and we did not have insurance because we didn't think we could afford it. So I've had to pay $500 out of pocket every month, and I finally figured out how to get insurance and do all that.
Good.
And it's going to cost about $110 a month for the whole family with the tax credit, which and then we'd have a copay. So that it'll be like $150 a month with the insurance and the copay, which will save us, a good amount. So we're gonna, starting May 1st, we will, finally be able to cut back there.
Does his job have any benefits?
So when he had an opportunity for the open enrollment and we didn't take it, so we would have to wait Other than that, he was working through a temp service, and he's now in the process of being hired on. So I don't know. It was like a temp to hire. So I don't know if once he's hired on, other doors will open in that aspect.
Mm-hmm.
But whenever he works a minimum of 50 hours a week. The last month they've been doing almost 70. So whenever there's overtime, he takes it.
Good.
Wow.
Yeah, and then
What kind
I
of
had
work
a
is he in?
PRN job. He's a minor.
Okay.
So, and then like I said, once he gets hired on officially, his income will go up $2 more per hour. And then I had a job PRN as a nursing assistant that helped us bring in some extra money every month. But with him working the later hours, they don't have openings for me to only come in, for a few hours. So that's why we're like, we're kind of in a pinch either way we go,
And it may be a decision long term. I mean, this is personal, but putting the kids in school, if you're able to work full time, and that helps you reach your financial goal of getting this dream home.
Yeah.
So there's lots to chew on and think about, but it's only two ways to skin this cat. It's spend less, make more. That's the way to get margin, and that's what you guys need right now to get the emergency fund, to invest 15%, to get this house. You got
And I
a
would
lot of goals.
emotionally let the house be a few years out. I think getting you guys grounded right now is the most important thing.
Absolutely. That puts this hour of The Ramsey Show in the books. My thanks to Rachel Cruze, the co-host today, all the folks in the booth keeping the show afloat, the audio running, and you, America, thank you for watching. We'll be back before you know it.